Welcome to Totally Legit, the channel where we dive into the most unbelievable stories from around the world. If you think you've heard it all, just wait. Today, we're unraveling the incredible tale of John McCoulkin, a young conman from Scotland who managed to sell one of the world's most famous landmarks, the Big Ben, for an astounding £50 million. So buckle up and get ready for a wild ride. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell icon so you never miss any of our crazy stories. Let's get into it! Our story begins in the charming town of Stirling, Scotland. John McCoulkin was an ordinary young man with extraordinary ambitions. From a young age, John had a knack for getting what he wanted. His school teachers often said he could talk his way out of anything. But John wasn't content with just getting out of trouble. He wanted to get rich, and fast. Growing up in a modest household, John quickly learned that smooth talking and a quick wit could get him far. He would charm his way into extra sweets from the local shopkeeper, or persuade his classmates to trade their lunch money for his tall tales of hidden treasures. It wasn't long before John realized he had a special talent, the art of the con. John spent his teenage years refining his skills, practicing on small-time scams and harmless pranks. But deep down, he knew he was destined for something much bigger. He dreamed of pulling off a con so grand, so audacious, that it would make him a legend. And that's when he set his sights on London. London, the heart of the United Kingdom, bustling with tourists and home to some of the world's most famous landmarks. Among these, Big Ben stands out, a towering symbol of British heritage. For John, it represented the ultimate prize. But how does one sell a landmark that belongs to the people? The answer lay in finding the perfect mark and crafting an impeccable plan. Enter Robert Dubois, a wealthy Frenchman with more money than sense. Robert was living the high life in Paris, having inherited a vast fortune that he spent on the finest things money could buy. From luxurious cars to high-end restaurants and lavish parties, Robert's lifestyle was the epitome of extravagance. Despite his wealth, Robert had one major flaw. He was incredibly naive when it came to international affairs. His sheltered upbringing and lack of real-world experience made him an easy target for a skilled conman like John. And so John set his sights on Robert, knowing that he had found the perfect mark for his grand scheme. John's plan was as bold as it was simple. He posed as a high-ranking official from the British government, complete with forged documents and a posh accent. He reached out to Robert, claiming that the British government was in dire financial straits and needed to sell Big Ben to a private investor to raise funds. John knew that the sheer absurdity of the offer would catch Robert off guard, making him more likely to believe it. To make the scam even more convincing, John fabricated an elaborate backstory. He created fake news articles and official-looking documents that detailed the British government's financial woes and their desperate need to sell Big Ben. John even hired actors to pose as government officials and support staff, adding layers of authenticity to his ruse. John carefully orchestrated a series of phone calls and emails, ensuring that every detail of the scam was flawless. He knew that gaining Robert's trust was crucial, so he meticulously crafted each interaction to appear as legitimate as possible. Robert was initially skeptical, but John's charisma and convincing paperwork won him over. The sheer audacity of the proposal intrigued Robert, who saw the potential for a once-in-a-lifetime investment. John even arranged for a private tour of Big Ben, complete with a bogus official guide who played along with the ruse. Robert was dazzled by the tour and believed he was getting the deal of a lifetime. John's attention to detail was impeccable. He had arranged for fake construction workers to be seen around Big Ben, giving the impression that renovations were underway in preparation for the sale. Every element of the scam was meticulously planned to ensure that Robert would have no reason to doubt the legitimacy of the deal. After several weeks of negotiations, Robert agreed to purchase the Big Ben for £50 million. The deal was done, the money was transferred, and John disappeared without a trace. It wasn't until Robert tried to assert his ownership of Big Ben that he realized he had been duped. By then, John was long gone, enjoying his newfound wealth. John had covered his tracks well. He had used multiple aliases, fake IDs, and offshore bank accounts to ensure that the money couldn't be traced back to him. Robert's attempts to locate John were futile, and he was left with nothing but a shattered reputation and an empty bank account. John fled to a remote island in the Caribbean, living a life of luxury that most people could only dream of. With his ill-gotten gains, he purchased a lavish villa, complete with a private beach and a fleet of luxury yachts. John spent his days lounging by the pool, sipping exotic cocktails, and enjoying the fruits of his labor. Meanwhile, back in London, Robert's attempt to claim the Big Ben became a massive scandal. The media had a field day with the story, and Robert's reputation was shattered. Headlines screamed about the gullible millionaire who had been duped by a smooth-talking con man, and Robert became the laughingstock of the international community. The British authorities were embarrassed, but also somewhat impressed by the audacity of John's con. Despite an international manhunt, John McCoulkin was never caught. He remains a mysterious figure, his true identity known only to a few. The story of John McCoulkin and his outrageous scam became a legend in the criminal underworld. Other con men looked up to John as a master of the craft, and his tale was told and retold in hushed tones in backrooms and speakeasies around the world. But what can we learn from this incredible story? First, it's a reminder to always be skeptical of deals that seem too good to be true. And second, it shows the power of confidence and charisma, tools that can be used for good or ill. John's story is also a testament to the human capacity for deception. Even the most outrageous lies can be believed if they are presented convincingly enough. And while John may have escaped justice, his story serves as a cautionary tale for anyone who might be tempted to trust too easily. As for Robert Dubois, he eventually recovered from the scandal, though his fortune was significantly diminished. He became more cautious in his business dealings and vowed never to be taken in by such a scam again. Robert's experience serves as a stark reminder that no matter how wealthy or successful you are, there is always someone out there looking to take advantage of your vulnerabilities. The Big Ben still stands tall, a symbol of Britain's resilience and history. And while it was never truly in danger of being sold, the story of John McCoulkin and his outrageous con will be remembered for years to come. John's ability to sell the Big Ben is not just a story of crime, but also a story of the extraordinary lengths people will go to achieve their dreams, even if those dreams are built on deception. It's a fascinating glimpse into the darker side of human nature, and a reminder that sometimes the most unbelievable stories are the ones that are true. But John's story doesn't end there. Rumors began to circulate that he was planning his next big con. Some say he was seen in New York, others in Tokyo. Whispers of his new identity and potential targets spread through the underworld like wildfire. What grand scheme could he possibly be plotting next? John's success with the Big Ben con had emboldened him. He knew he had the skills to pull off another spectacular scam, and the thrill of the con was too addictive to resist. With his new wealth and experience, John was ready to take on the world. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this unbelievable story, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to Totally Legit, and ring the bell icon so you never miss any of our incredible tales. Who knows what wild story we'll uncover next? Until then, stay curious, stay skeptical, and stay totally legit.